Hi, Stephen Bones here of stephenbones.com, and I'd just like to cover the subject of personal development. And the reason I want to discuss that and share some information with you is because I come across so many people now getting into that space, and that's really good. And I firmly believe that we are here on this planet to evolve and grow, and if we ignore everything that comes into around us, including the personal development information, then we do that and we stay on a plane. Nothing increases. Our knowledge doesn't increase. Our perception doesn't increase. Our conscious awareness doesn't increase. In fact, we pinch off the real version of us that's inside. And we tend to be ruled by then fear, anxiety, stress, anger, confusion, chaos, all that sort of thing. And I started in personal development 40 years ago, as I mentioned previously, and the downside of that in those days was we used to call people winners and losers, really. That's what we were programmed into through probably the environment I was involved in, which was multi-level marketing. And at the end of the day, they were helping people, in their view, develop their businesses. And of course, if the people they helped develop their business, then the people that were putting this stuff out would grow. So the concept for me was in those days was correct. We were had a lot of material available to us, like The Magic of Thinking Big and See You at the Top and The Power of the Subconscious Mind, and numerous books that I consumed. And at that period in my life, I was actually in sales on the road, and I did implement all that, and it worked really well. And I used affirmations, and for some reason in my life, I dropped it and thought I didn't need it anymore. I thought I'd arrived, and then later on in life, something fairly dramatic happened, and I just happened to have The Power of Subconscious Mind on the shelf, and I picked it up and I read it cover to cover a couple of times from a Friday night through to a Monday evening, because it was a bank holiday and I was very low and down. And it picked me up and I got going again, and my life changed a couple of years later through that. And guess what? I did the same again. I dropped it. And then later on in my life, a few years ago, I had another event happen and it came into my path again. And this time I sat with it and followed it. And you know, what I then discovered was getting into the spiritual realm. Now, to a lot of you listening to this, that might sound woo-woo and out the box and everything else, but if you listen to your personal development, if you follow the advice of the people you're listening to, it could be the likes of Bob Proctor, or you might have, the most popular book that I hear talked about a lot is Rich Man, Poor Man. And any of those books, or any of those great leaders and gurus, even Tony Robbins, if you listen to a lot of his stuff, it's opening the mind, the peripheral mind, becoming consciously aware of what comes into our space, and get curious about that. It comes into our space for a reason. And therefore, once I followed that path, I then started getting deeper and deeper into the spiritual stuff, and that I then got very passionate about it and realised what a massive healing I had. The events that were pre-programmed in my mind from the age of 0 to 6, I healed them, and I still am, because it's an infinite journey. It's not a destination, and that's where I got it wrong before. Personal development, really everything I was on sort of didn't quite emphasise that it was an infinite journey rather than it being a destination. So I treated it as a destination. So my advice for anybody in the personal development, keep following your journey, keep getting into as much material as you can, open the mind, so when stuff comes into your peripheral vision and into your space and come across it, get curious ask yourself, why has it arrived? I'm a firm believer that everything that comes into our space, everything we do, for instance, I'm shooting this video now for a reason, and you're listening to it for a reason. There's some synchronicity there. What is it? There's some synergy there. What is it? And I get curious about it. It doesn't rule my life, but I get curious about it and start to see if there's any message or anything in there that will benefit me or give me an opportunity. So, and also what I did heal was that I don't allow fear, anxiety, panic, stress, anger, especially anger for me, stress and anger were the two that I suffered with. They don't rule my life anymore. Hey, they still try to show up, but I now know how to deal with them because of the deep spiritual work I've done. And anybody can do that. If you want to know more, by all means, go to my website, stephenbones.com. But otherwise, thanks very much for listening to me, and we will speak soon. Take care and bye for now.